So turning now to Puerto Rico, Governor Ricardo Rosselló has officially handed in his resignation letter to the government, but now his likely successor is facing calls for her resignation. Justice Secretary Wanda Vázquez is likely to become the interim governor after Rosselló steps down next Friday. But Vázquez is being accused of not investigating the mismanagement of aid after Hurricane Maria. She is also accused of awarding government contracts to friends and political allies. Protesters say Vázquez is too close to Rosselló, to his administration, and should not accept the position. So, Refinery 29 senior writer Andrea González-Ramírez is back with us today to give us more insight into the protests and the Puerto Rican government. Thank you so much for coming. I feel like we've covered the protests a lot, but we need to give more context so people can understand what's happening. So let's start with what we just brought up, though. Wanda Vázquez, she looks like she's going to be the one to take the position temporarily because the person who should have taken the position resigned already amidst a cloud of corruption and so on and so forth. But what is going on with Wanda? What's her issue? Is she too close to Rosselló?
Yeah, protesters say that she's too close to his administration. She has declined to prosecute or investigate the pro-statehood party, which is the party she belongs to and Rosselló also belongs to. So protesters say she's part of the family, she's part of this cycle, this system, and it's not acceptable that she will become our new governor. She also has not held elected office before. She was a prosecutor, she ran the women's advocate office, but she has not ran elected office. And for a lot of people, it's like, how is she going to handle Washington? How is she going to handle, like, you know, people in the island from a cross-section of political beliefs? Like, is she even prepared to do this? So there's a lot of concerns. You're already seeing Wanda renuncia, Wanda resign, written on the streets of Old San Juan. So I think that the resignation of Governor Rosselló is just the first step for a lot of these protesters.
So the thing about Wanda Vázquez, though, is that what she's being accused of is what President Trump has suggested is one of the main problems with Puerto Rico, right? In April, he did not want to sign a funding bill to help states that have been dealing with natural disasters, and the primary reason was he didn't think that Puerto Rico deserved the money because of mismanagement. That got a lot of people upset, but still they were like, you know, he might have a point there, right? So just to let people know how the pressure built in such a short period of time, it seems like a short period of time. That was one thing in April where the president said, you don't know how to spend this money, we're not giving you billions of money. But then next came the Treasury Secretary, who came forward and announced that he had gone to the FBI to investigate some of the people within the Rosselló administration. The governor reacted very badly to that. And then it goes from there. Just give us, if you can, the brief timeline, the dominoes that led to Rosselló resigning.
Yeah, this has been building up for a couple of months. Like the leaked chats were just that last straw for a lot of people, right? Like you've seen after Hurricane Maria, like this push between the Trump administration and the Rosselló administration, just because of the political situation in Puerto Rico. Like they were like, you're not giving us enough money, and the Trump administration was like, well, you don't deserve it because you don't know how to manage it, because you have this history of corruption with past administrations as well. So when the Treasury Secretary resigns, then this pressure starts building up for a lot of these protesters, and they're like, well, we need this aid. We need to be, you know, rebuild the island after what happened in 2017, but we're facing all these challenges to do so. And then by the time the leaked chats were, like, you know, released to the public, it was just a massive amount of anger because it showed what a lot of people already knew. Like you had Rosselló cuddling with lobbyists, for example, and like his associates and his aides all talking together, making fun of people, but also, like, you know, talking about issues that do affect the Puerto Rican people and how they handle that money. So it was not just a thing that happened out of the blue. It's like a historical thing that's been going on, and then in the last couple of months it got really rough.
So a number of resignations amidst allegations of corruption, but that's not all that is upsetting the people of Puerto Rico. And if you looked at the signs, the protest signs, it wasn't just about let's clean house in the governor's mansion. There were other things too, particularly the Oversight Board. So how does that work? Because people might not know.
So in 2016, after, you know, the former governor Alejandro Garcia Padilla said, We have a massive $72 billion debt, and we cannot pay it. It's unpayable. After that happened, the Obama administration, then the Republican-controlled Congress came together to try to figure out how to help Puerto Rico. They did not want to bail out Puerto Rico, and there was no mechanism to do that because it is a U.S. territory. It's not a state. It's not a city. So it's just a weird, place to exist. So they created this fiscal oversight board. It's, I think, 9 unelected members. That first iteration was composed by people, the Obama administration and House Speaker Paul Ryan and the Republican Congress chose. It was only 2 Puerto Ricans who were there, and those 2 Puerto Ricans, one was with this political organization, sorry, I misspoke, a government organization that contributed to the crisis, and the other one had ties to one of the biggest banks in the island. So you're bringing in people that help create the crisis to an extent.
Right.
So for a lot of people, they were saying, Ricky renuncia y llévate a la Junta. Take the oversight board with you because we did not elect them. They're passing all these austerity measures that had to do with the University of Puerto Rico, that had to do with the Department of Education, with all these areas that impact the daily lives of Boricuas there. And they're not happy about it. They're like, these people, we did not choose them. They're just telling us how to spend our money. They're telling us they're making cuts here and here and here, and we don't like it, so take them with you.
So you have political representation that have no influence in Washington.
Yes.
And then you have a board telling you how to spend your money, right? So that's an incredibly frustrated position to be. When I looked at the population of the protesters, you saw an awful lot of young people. Now, maybe young people got a lot of time to protest, but it certainly seems like, we're looking at between 14 and 30 years old is the range that a lot of people have been saying. What does that say? Because this is the group of people that many people felt left the island after the hurricane because they thought there's no future here.
I mean, I left the island because I felt like there was no future there for me. I think that, I've had these conversations with friends and family and sources, and my parents' generation, they grew up in prosperity. Like, they were fine. Like, the way the economy was being held in the 80s, the 90s, it was okay for the island. But my generation did not see that. Puerto Rico started a recession in 2006. Then you had the financial crisis here, which trickled down to the island. And then in 2015, it was like, well, we have a massive debt crisis that we don't know how to pay for it. So yeah, this generation, it's angry. They don't have the same ties to the political parties as previous generations, And Puerto Rico is not Democrats and Republicans. It's pro-statehood, pro-Commonwealth, or pro-independence. And the younger generation does not subscribe to those political ties that are more partisan. So for a lot of young people, they were like, we have nothing left to lose, so we're just gonna take to the streets and we're gonna organize, and then we'll see what happens. They've taken everything from us, so what else we have to lose? Nothing.
Perfect. Context is so important when we're trying to tell people the news. I really appreciate it. Andrea González-Ramírez, thank you so much.
Thank you.